The text message came through while I was in the middle of a client meeting, my phone buzzing insistently on the conference table. I glanced down and felt my stomach drop. "You're uninvited. Don't bother showing up. This is MY Day and I won't have you ruining it with your presence. Vanessa." My name is Jasmine, and if you're watching this, stay with me, because what started as the most humiliating moment of my life became the day I discovered just how much power I actually had. I excused myself from the meeting, my hands trembling as I stepped into the hallway. I read the message again, then scrolled up to see the context. There wasn't any. No argument. No explanation. Just a cold, cruel dismissal from my own sister's wedding, an event that was supposed to happen in 3 weeks. I called her immediately. It rang 4 times before she picked up. "What?" Her voice was clipped, annoyed. "Vanessa, what is this? Why am I uninvited?" "Because I don't want you there. Is that clear enough?" My throat tightened. "But I'm your sister. I'm supposed to be a bridesmaid. We've been planning this for months." "Yeah, well, plans change. Honestly, Jasmine, you've always made everything about you. My wedding day is about me and Trevor, not about you trying to get attention because you're still single and miserable." The words hit like a slap. That's not fair. I've never. Save it. I've already told Mom and Dad. They agree it's for the best. You always bring drama, and I want my day to be perfect. So just, stay away. She hung up. I stood in that empty hallway, staring at my phone, feeling like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My own sister. My own family. Had they all discussed this? Agreed I was the problem? I tried calling my mother. She didn't pick up. I texted my father. No response. I was erased. Just like that. I somehow made it through the rest of the workday on autopilot, then drove home to my apartment in a daze. I'd been so excited about Vanessa's wedding. I'd already bought my bridesmaid dress, planned a bridal shower, spent hours helping her with seating charts and flower arrangements. And she'd just thrown me away. That night, I sat on my couch with a glass of wine, scrolling through old photos of us as kids. Vanessa and me at the beach, building sandcastles. Halloween costumes. Christmas mornings. When had everything changed? When had I become someone she couldn't stand? My phone buzzed. A text from my cousin Jade, one of the other bridesmaids. "Just heard. I'm so sorry. For what it's worth, I think it's messed up. Let me know if you need anything." At least someone had my back. I spent the next few days in a fog of hurt and confusion. I tried reaching out to my parents again, but they were brief and dismissive. "Vanessa has a lot of stress right now. Just let her have her day." Like I was the one causing problems. A week after the text, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello? Miss Hartford? This is Diane Rodriguez from Rosewood Estate. I'm calling about the contract for the Vanessa Hartford wedding." My breath caught. Rosewood Estate. The venue Vanessa had been obsessing over for months. The place she'd booked before she even got engaged, she loved it so much. I'm not sure why you're calling me," I said slowly. There was a pause. "I'm showing that you're listed as the primary contact and account holder for the venue booking. The deposit was paid from your account 6 months ago?" The room spun. "That's impossible." I didn't, and then it hit me. 6 months ago, Vanessa had called me in tears. The venue had a cancellation, a perfect spring date, but she didn't have the deposit money yet. Could I help? Just temporarily? She'd pay me back within a month, she promised. It was $15,000, a massive amount, but she was my sister. I'd used my savings, money I'd been carefully building from my marketing consulting business. And she'd never paid me back. Every time I'd mentioned it, she'd gotten defensive or changed the subject. Eventually, I'd stopped asking, not wanting to cause problems. Miss Hartford? Diane's voice pulled me back. Are you still there? Yes. Sorry. What's this about? Well, we have a policy that contract holders need to approve any major changes. Your sister just called requesting to add 50 additional guests, which would exceed our capacity and require significant changes to the catering order. I need your approval to proceed. My heart was pounding. The contract is in my name? Yes, ma'am. You signed the initial agreement and paid the deposit. Your sister is listed as the event contact, but you're the account holder. A strange feeling washed over me. Not quite anger yet, more like clarity. I need to think about this, I said. Can I come by tomorrow to review the contract? Of course. We're here from 9 to 5. I hung up and sat in stunned silence. The venue was in my name. I'd paid for it. And Vanessa had not only never paid me back, she'd banned me from the wedding that I was literally funding. The audacity was breathtaking. The next morning, I drove to Rosewood Estate, a beautiful property on the outskirts of town with gardens and a historic mansion. Diane met me in the office, a kind-faced woman in her 50s who pulled up my file. Here's everything, she said, sliding papers across the desk. The contract is very clear. As the account holder, you have final approval on all decisions. We require this to protect against fraud and ensure payment. I read through it carefully. My signature. My credit card. My name on everything. What happens if I want to cancel? I asked quietly. Diane's eyebrows rose. Well, you'd lose the deposit, but you'd be within your rights. Though I'd hate to see that happen, the wedding is only 2 weeks away. And if I wanted to, make changes? To the guest list? That's entirely your prerogative. You're the contract holder. I sat back, my mind racing. I had power here. Real power. Vanessa had no idea. Can I get copies of everything? I asked. Of course. I left Rosewood Estate with a folder full of documents and a decision crystallizing in my mind. I wasn't going to cancel the wedding, I wasn't cruel. But I wasn't going to be erased either. That afternoon, I got my hair done, bought a new outfit, a beautiful sage green silk blouse with a deep V-neck that draped perfectly, paired with cream linen pants, and prepared myself for what came next. I texted Vanessa, we need to talk. Meet me at Rosewood Estate tomorrow at 2 p.m. Her response came quickly, why would I meet you there? You're not part of this wedding. Just be there. Trust me, you'll want to hear this. The next day, I arrived at Rosewood early, meeting with Diane to go over my plan. She was professional, but I could see the hint of a smile on her face. Clearly, she'd dealt with difficult brides before. Vanessa showed up at 2:05, her fiancé Trevor in tow. She looked annoyed the moment she saw me standing in the garden courtyard. What is this about, Jasmine? I'm busy. I smiled calmly. I thought we should discuss the wedding. There's nothing to discuss. You're not invited. Actually, I said, pulling out the contract folder, there's quite a bit to discuss. Like the fact that this entire venue booking is in my name. That I paid the $15,000 deposit you never reimbursed me for. That legally, I'm the contract holder for your wedding. Her face went white. Trevor looked confused. What? Vanessa snatched the folder from my hands, flipping through the papers frantically. You tricked me. I didn't trick you. You asked me to pay the deposit because you didn't have the money. I did you a favor. A favor you never acknowledged or repaid. I was going to pay you back. It's been 6 months, Vanessa. You bought a designer wedding dress. You booked a honeymoon in Bali. But you never paid me back. Trevor stepped forward. Look, I'm sure we can work this out. How much does she owe you? We'll write you a check right now. I looked at him, seeing a decent guy who probably had no idea how Vanessa had treated me. It's not about the money anymore, I said quietly. It's about respect. Vanessa uninvited me from her wedding. Via text. Without explanation. After everything I've done to help her. Vanessa's eyes narrowed. So what, you're going to cancel my wedding? Is that your plan? Ruin everything? No, I said. I'm not canceling anything. But I am making some changes. I turned to Diane, who stepped forward with her tablet. Miss Hartford has requested some modifications to the guest list and seating arrangements. Vanessa's mouth fell open. You can't. I can, I interrupted. I'm the contract holder. And here's what's going to happen, I'm going to be at this wedding. Not as a guest hiding in the back. As a bridesmaid, like we originally planned. You're going to apologize to me, publicly, for how you treated me. And you're going to pay me back the $15,000, today, or I'm downgrading your venue package to the basic option, which means no premium flowers, no upgraded catering, and no string quartet. Trevor looked at Vanessa. You owe her $15,000? Vanessa's face was red. I told you I'd handle it. By uninviting her from your own wedding? His voice was incredulous. She's always been jealous of me. Always trying to steal attention. I helped you plan this entire wedding. My voice cracked with emotion. I threw you a bridal shower. I spent hours helping you pick flowers and address invitations. And the moment it got inconvenient for you, you erased me. Trevor ran a hand through his hair. Vanessa, this is not okay. Don't take her side. I'm not taking sides. I'm looking at facts. She paid for our venue. You never told me that. You never told me you owed her money. Vanessa's eyes filled with furious tears. Fine. Fine. You can come to the stupid wedding. Are you happy? And the apology? I pressed. She glared at me. I'm sorry. There. Done. Not good enough, I said. A real apology. In front of the family. Acknowledging what you did. For a moment, I thought she might explode. Then Trevor touched her arm. Vanessa. Just do it. Please. Her jaw was so tight I thought it might crack. I'm sorry for uninviting you. It was wrong. You can come to the wedding. It wasn't heartfelt, but it was something. And the money? I asked. Trevor pulled out his phone. I'll transfer it right now. What's your Venmo? 10 minutes later, $15,000 appeared in my account. Trevor had paid it, not Vanessa, but at least it was done. Diane made notes on her tablet. So we're keeping the original bridesmaid lineup and guest list? Yes, I said. Then I looked at Vanessa. But I'm making one more change. I'm inviting my friend Marcus as my plus one. Vanessa's eyes widened. Marcus? Your ex-boyfriend Marcus? We're friends now. And since I'm paying for this venue, I'm entitled to a plus one. She looked like she wanted to argue, but Trevor shook his head at her. It's fine. Let her bring whoever she wants. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Vanessa? You're welcome. For the venue. For the money. For everything. I walked away, head high, leaving her standing there in stunned silence. The 2 weeks leading up to the wedding were tense. My mother called, trying to smooth things over. Jasmine, honey, you made your point. Can't you just let this go? I'm letting it go, I said. I'm going to the wedding. I'm being civil. But I'm not pretending this didn't happen. The day of the wedding arrived. I showed up to the bridal suite where the bridesmaids were getting ready, wearing my sage green silk blouse and cream pants, my hair styled in loose waves, gold jewelry catching the light. I looked good, and I knew it. The other bridesmaids greeted me with hugs and relieved smiles. Jade whispered, I'm so glad you're here. It wouldn't be right without you. Vanessa barely looked at me. She was focused on her hair, her makeup, her dress, barking orders at everyone. I helped where I was needed, held her veil, pinned flowers in the bridesmaid's hair. I was civil, professional even. But I wasn't warm. I wasn't the pushover she'd always counted on. The ceremony was beautiful. Rosewood Estate looked stunning, exactly as we'd planned months ago. I stood at the altar with the other bridesmaids, watching Vanessa marry Trevor, and I felt nothing. No jealousy. No bitterness. Just a calm detachment. At the reception, during the speeches, something unexpected happened. My father stood up, microphone in hand. "I want to take a moment to acknowledge someone who made this day possible," he said. "My daughter Jasmine paid for this beautiful venue when Vanessa needed help. She's been a rock for this family, and I don't think we've appreciated that enough. So thank you, Jasmine. For everything." The room erupted in applause. I felt tears prick my eyes, not from sadness but from validation. My own father, who'd dismissed me days ago, was now publicly acknowledging what I'd done. Vanessa's smile looked frozen in place. Later, as I danced with Marcus, who'd turned out to be wonderful company, Vanessa approached me. She looked tired, her perfect makeup starting to fade. "Can we talk?" she asked quietly. I nodded, and we stepped out onto the garden terrace. The party continued behind us, music and laughter drifting through the warm evening air. "I'm sorry," she said, and this time her voice was different. Softer. Maybe even genuine. "I was horrible to you. I was stressed and scared and I took it out on you because you've always had your life together and I felt like I was failing." I studied her face. "That doesn't excuse what you did." I know it doesn't. But I want you to know that I see it now. How much you've done for me. How terrible I've been." She swallowed hard. "Trevor told me tonight that if I don't fix things with you, he's going to be seriously disappointed in who he married. And he's right. I've been a terrible sister." For the first time in weeks, I felt the wall around my heart crack just a little. "I needed to hear this," I said quietly. "Not just for the wedding. For everything. For years of taking me for granted. I know. And I'm going to do better. I promise." I nodded slowly. "I hope you mean that." "I do." She hesitated. Can we start over? Not today, maybe. But eventually?" I thought about it. About the years of being dismissed, overlooked, used. But I also thought about the little girl who'd built sandcastles with me, who'd shared secrets and dreams. Eventually, I agreed. But it's going to take time. And effort. Real effort. "I understand." She wiped at her eyes carefully, trying not to smudge her makeup. "Thank you for not canceling. You could have ruined everything, and you didn't. I'm not cruel, Vanessa. I never was. I just finally learned to stand up for myself." She nodded, gave me a tentative hug, and went back inside to her wedding. I stood on that terrace for a while longer, breathing in the cool night air, feeling lighter than I had in years. Marcus found me there. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said, and I meant it. "I really am." The months after the wedding brought slow but real changes. Vanessa called more often, checking in, actually listening when I talked about my life. She invited me to dinner, just the two of us, and apologized again, more thoroughly. My mother admitted she'd been wrong to dismiss my feelings. My father started making an effort to acknowledge my accomplishments, not just Vanessa's. It wasn't perfect. Some damage couldn't be completely undone. But it was better. And I'd learned something crucial: sometimes the only way to be respected is to demand it. To stop accepting scraps and start claiming what you deserve. I'd nearly lost myself trying to be the perfect sister, the perfect daughter, the perfect supporter. But when I'd been pushed too far, when I discovered I had power I didn't even know existed, everything changed. I didn't use that power to destroy. I used it to protect myself. To set boundaries. To say, enough. And in doing so, I'd found something I'd been missing for years, my own voice. 6 months later, I stood in my new apartment, a bigger place I'd been able to afford after Vanessa paid me back, hanging artwork on freshly painted walls. My business was thriving. My relationships were healthier. My life was finally, genuinely mine. Vanessa called that afternoon. "Hey, Jasmine. Trevor and I want to have you over for dinner next week. Just the three of us. No pressure, no drama. Just, family." I smiled. "I'd like that." "Good. And Jasmine? Thank you. For not giving up on me, even when I deserved it." "Thank you for finally seeing me," I replied. After we hung up, I looked around my apartment, at the life I'd built, the boundaries I'd set, the respect I'd earned. I'd been erased from my sister's wedding. Until she realized I was the one holding all the cards. And in that moment of power, I'd chosen not revenge, but dignity. I'd chosen to show up, to demand respect, to refuse to be invisible. And that had made all the difference. Some people might say I was petty. That I should have just let it go, been the bigger person, quietly accepted being uninvited. But those people never had to stand in a hallway, reading a text that dismissed them like they were nothing. Those people never had to watch their entire family agree that their presence would cause drama just by existing. I hadn't caused drama. I demanded respect. And there's nothing petty about that. The wedding venue had been my leverage, sure. But what I did with that leverage defined me. I could have canceled everything. Could have destroyed Vanessa's perfect day out of spite. But instead, I'd used my power to reclaim my place, to set boundaries, to show everyone, including myself, that I mattered. That was the real victory. Not the money I got back. Not the apology. Not even the public acknowledgement at the wedding. The victory was discovering that I had the strength to stand up for myself. To stop shrinking. To stop apologizing for taking up space. I was Jasmine Hartford. I'd built a successful business through hard work and determination. I'd helped my sister when she needed it, even at great personal cost. And when she tried to erase me, I'd refused to disappear. That was power. Real, lasting power that no one could take away. And as I settled into my new life, stronger and clearer about who I was and what I deserved, I knew one thing for certain. I would never let anyone make me feel invisible again. Not my family. Not my friends. Not anyone. I'd learned to value myself. And that changed everything.